Good morning. Nope.
Hello, testing, testing. I am going to be playing a piece from the Seasons by Tchaikovsky. This is October. And here there's a poem from Tolstoy. The fall, falling down on our poor orchid. The yellow leaves are flying in the wind.
Good morning. The centering thought. May your life preach more loudly than your lips. Welcome to Summit Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Nancy Merrill, and I'm very happy to be your service associate today. Can you hear me okay? Oh, okay. We are a liberal religious community bound together by shared principles that are drawn from world religions, humanist teachings, nature and science, philosophy, and personal practices. We are a religion of love and inclusion. The mission of Summit is to commit ourselves to building a more compassionate, just, and sustainable world. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism or to Summit, and would like to know more about us, we invite you to go to our website, summituuf.org. And again, that's summituuf.org. Click on the visitors button and fill out our online connection card. Someone will follow up with you. I have an announcement from the auction committee. What is the auction? It is our community's fundraiser for the year, the major fundraiser for the year. There will be food and drink of all kinds, silent bidding on items, live bidding, raffles, dressing up, and dessert. Childcare will be available. If you haven't been to one, you will want to come to see what it's all about. It's a lot of fun, and take it from me, it's a blast. The auction committee's ask today is to help them obtain business donations. Your favorite business can be our favorite business. Getting business donations is 3 times as successful if someone is able to follow up with the business's donation department or in person. On the back table, there are 2 forms for this. That must be the tables outside the doors here. Thank you. Are there any other announcements? We acknowledge that our fellowship resides on unceded Kumeyaay land, and that for more than 10,000 years, this land has been and continues to be home to the Kumeyaay people. We recognize the violent history of colonization in California and honor the legacy and continuing presence of the Kumeyaay Nation. And now our chalice lighting. Drawn together. We come together every week, bound not by a creed or a mutual desire to please one God or many gods. Yet we are drawn together by a belief that how we are in the world, who we are together, matters. We light this chalice together in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change this world. Please stand for the UU hymn in Spanish and English and the UU aspiration.
May the quest for truth be its sacrament, and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to dwell together in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration.
And now we will have a reading by our pastor, Casey Marie Pandell, followed by Time for All Ages for the Young and Young at Heart.
Good morning, everyone. I'm seeing all these faces bright and early on a Sunday. Hello to everyone on Zoom as well. My name is Casey Marie Pandell. I am the minister here at Summit. Whether it is your first visit or your 5,000th visit, you are whole, you are holy, you are loved, and you are so welcome here. Our reading this morning is words from Lisa Ward entitled, "A Covenant Invites Relationship." A covenant is not a definition of a relationship. It is the framework of our relating. A covenant leaves room for chance and change. It is humble toward evolution. It claims, "I will abide with you in this common endeavor, be present as best as I can be in our becoming." This calls for a level of trust, courage, and sacrifice that needs to be nurtured, renewed, and affirmed on a regular basis. A creed creates a static truth, something that does not incorporate new insights and realities. A covenant is a dance of co-creation, keeping in step with one another in the flow of our lives. A creed seeks uniformity and a unison voice. A covenant seeks harmony and a shared voice. Sometimes we may arrive at a unison, but it is not required. A creed gives authority to the statement. A covenant gives authority to shared intention. A creed creates an us and a them. Covenant invites relationship. A creed is a prescription that must be relied on, but a covenant relies on the treasures of a shared truth. The overall trust within this covenant is in the truth with a capital T, something which no person can fully see, yet something which each and every person can come to know. In glimpses, in another story, in epiphanies. Truth is ever changing in our seeking to understand because of our limited perspectives. We grow into a deeper sense of meaning of all things when we take our journeys seriously, with full heart and full mind. The courage within this covenant is in the acceptance and celebration of life, with all its challenges, pain, ironies, and joys. And the sacrifice within this covenant is in the letting go of dogma, of assumptions, of control, and giving over to a greater wisdom which comes to us in bits and pieces. The task of this covenant is to take responsibility for the freedom we espouse. We know that we are interconnected and that what we do creates ripples of hope or despair, of affirmation or negation. What we do with and for one another is powerful and beyond our imagining. I would like to invite our young or our young at heart for our Time for All Ages. Today would have been a great day to let the tech team give me the body mic, but I didn't have pockets today. You can bring your stuff, that's okay. Sometimes when I sit down there, I'm not quite sure I can get up again. It's the shoes. Our Time for All Ages today is called "I Promise" by David McPhail. Baby Bear and his mother were splashing in the pool at the waterfall. Will you sing to me, Mama? Shouted Baby Bear over the roar of the falling water. Later, dear, Mama Bear shouted back. I promise. What's a promise? Baby Bear asked as they sat in the sun, drying off. A promise is when you say you will do something, answered Mother Bear, and then you do your best to do it. Well, what if I don't do it? Said Baby Bear. Then it becomes a broken promise. Can you fix it? Asked Baby Bear. Not easily, said his mother. That's why it is so important to keep it. Baby Bear was quiet for a moment, and then he said, well, I told Billy Bear that I would play with him tomorrow. If I don't, is that breaking a promise? What do you think? His mother replied. Yes, said Baby Bear, I think it is. And I think it might hurt Billy Bear's feelings. I think you're right, Baby Bear. Mother and Baby Bear got up and walked along the riverbank. What else do you promise, Mama? Baby Bear asked. I promise to lie in the meadow with you, said Mother Bear, and watch the clouds float by. And maybe we'll see one that looks like an elephant, Baby Bear said excitedly. What else do you promise? I promise to listen when you have something to tell me, said Mother Bear. Like when I told you that I thought there was a dragon under my bed? Asked Baby Bear. Yes, exactly, replied Mother Bear. I remember that we looked, but we didn't find anything. And you stayed with me until I fell asleep, just in case. That's what mothers do. They walked down to the orchard where the apples were nearly ripe, and Mother Bear shook some from the tree. What else do you promise? Baby Bear asked. I promise to give you good things to eat, said Mother Bear, so that you will grow up big and strong. Will I be as big as you, Mama? Oh, yes, dear. Maybe even bigger. Will you sing to me now? Baby Bear asked. Not now, dear, mumbled his mother, mouth full of apple. Later, I promise. After a while, they walked toward the deep woods. What else do you promise, Mama? Baby Bear asked. I promise to teach you the things that you will need to know about growing up, said Mother Bear. But I also promise you to let you discover some things for yourself. I don't know everything. You don't? Said Baby Bear, sounding surprised. I don't, his mother replied. No one knows all there is to know. Do you promise I'll always be happy? Baby Bear asked. Oh, I can't promise you that, said his mother. Your happiness will depend mostly on you, but I will do everything I can to help. And now they were on the path that led home. The sun had set and the moon was rising. Do you promise anything else? Asked Baby Bear. I promise I will love you, said Mother Bear, always and forever. No matter what? Asked Baby Bear. No matter what, Mama Bear promised. Oh, Baby Bear was so tired that Mother Bear had to pick him up and carry him the rest of the way home. I can't wait to see Billy Bear tomorrow, said Baby Bear. I'm glad I promised to play with him. That must feel good, said Mother Bear. You will be keeping your promise and having fun, too. When they reached their den, Mother Bear laid Baby Bear down on his bed and tucked him in. Can I promise you something, Mama? Baby Bear asked. Of course, dear, said Mother Bear. What is it? I promise I will be a good bear, Baby Bear told her. Most of the time. Most of the time will do nicely, said Mother Bear, and then she sang her to her baby until he was sound asleep. The end. Today, we are going to sing our young ones out to their classes using our formerly children's recessional. It's sung to the tune of Do, Re, Mi. You will find it in your orders of service. job, folks. I like when I can bring you new things and y'all just do it. And if you would be so inclined to rise in mind, body, or spirit, we will sing number 170 in our gray hymnals. We are a gentle inclusive church.
And for those of you who are using the hymnal, there is a change to the text. Holly Near wrote this hymn in 1979, and her words were just cutting edge, sensitive for 1979. But in verse number 5, we are gay and straight together, because it doesn't really encompass us anymore. Those two terms has been changed to we are all in this together. Everything else is the same, and it will be up there, but just for people who are reading the tune.
I would like to take a moment to hold space for the passing of former summit member Nehad Bukhari, who passed away on the 9th after a long, valiant battle with cancer. I spoke to her husband, Dari, this week, and he said that coming to America in their 40s was a bit of a journey. He said they found it difficult to find a home here sometimes because sometimes Americans aren't that friendly. But what he did say was that Summit always made them feel at home. We know that when we lose those who are part of our community, that we still get to carry them with us in our hearts. And we can take some solace in knowing that Nahad and Dari always had home here with us, and that Dari and his daughter Mona will have home here with us in the future. We relight our chalice as a reminder that even when we lose each other or lose ourselves along the way, there is always a home to return to. Please join me in a time of silent prayer, meditation, or reflection as I read A Prayer for the Journey by Krista Taves. Spirit of life and love, God of grace and mercy, source of all things that changes us as we cannot change ourselves. We gather this morning as a covenanted community of spiritual seekers, coming together in a rainbow of diversity, united by our conviction that the wounds of this world can be healed through compassion, forgiveness, acceptance, and courage. And by healing, we do not mean restored to some mythical original purity, but brought to a new place with greater wisdom, wholeness, and liberation than could ever have been envisioned before. This community is on a journey from one home to another, and yet in truth, we know that each one of us is on a journey, and that all our journeys place us before forks in the road. These places ask us to make choices, saying yes to some things, saying no to others, grieving in what we must leave behind, rejoicing in blessings often unexpected that come our way. In these journeys, some will choose to walk with us and some will choose another path. Some will pause for a while, withdrawing into their own places of transformation where we cannot follow. Some of these partings happen gently and lovingly, others with judgment and disappointment. It is our calling to accept these things as a testament to our strength and our fragility, and to trust in the process even as we fear the unknown, even as whispers of beloved memories draw us deep into our own hearts, even when we see more clearly where we have come from than where we are going. The journey asks us to keep traveling. Let us enter into a time of communal silence for the individual prayers and meditations in our hearts. Spirit of life, we ask for patience, we ask for understanding, we ask for compassion. We ask for hope and gratitude so that we may welcome our collective and individual journeys with open hearts, open minds, and open hands. Amen and blessed be. Covenanting is a big part of our faith. I would argue that it's at least equally as important, if not more so, than our upholding of the democratic process. It is so integral to who we are as Unitarian Universalists and how we view ourselves that the proposed rewrite of Article 2, where we find the core of our beliefs, in 600 words, mentions the word covenant 10 times. That's about the equivalent of a one-page document. So when we covenant, we mean business. But covenanting isn't just showing up and having coffee together on a Sunday morning. It's not just the food in our salon or hearing the same worship service together or attending the congregational meeting, but please attend the congregational meetings. Technically speaking, you can get any of that just about anywhere where people come together in a group. But covenanting is so much more than that. When we covenant to be together, we mean through everything. It is a sacred vow that we take with each other to show up, rain or shine, in joyous times or grief-stricken ones. It's being together on our best days and our worst ones. and everything in between. This is an active choice we make when we say all are welcome. It is the love that we show when we choose to show up, not in spite of our differences, but because of everything that makes us the whole, holy beings we naturally are. And a big part of that covenanting together is coming together when we break each other's hearts. Because sometimes we do, and we know sometimes we will. It is choosing each other time and again because we believe in this faith, in this community, and each other. It's also one of those words that, even though it's bigger than religion, for some can harken back to a more traditional faith than our own. For example, many faiths have a baptismal covenant, which is the formal sacred agreement between new believers and God that says, I am for you and you are for me. We know our covenant is technically a little different from that, but the roots run adjacent. We come from what is known as the free church tradition. But what does that mean, and why choose the word covenant and not something more secular like contract, agreement, or pact? And those two questions are pretty directly related, in large part thanks to the Cambridge Platform of 1648. Yes, our tradition of covenanting is older than the United States by over 130 years. To begin, free church is a sort of shorthand for the separation of church and state, as opposed to, say, the Church of England being the state religion of a country. The free church tradition feels pretty strongly that there is some overreach in a national religion, and tradition holds that church doctrine doesn't need to be informed by the government, nor is church theology beholden to government policy or ideology. At the same time, the government should not be following church directions. So where does Cambridge come in? We can thank Puritan ministers John Cotton and Richard Mather, both nonconformist in their beliefs. They were called upon during a church synod seeking to refresh the way that colonial church governance functioned. In the end, a doctrine was chosen that favored heavily the idea of congregational polity, claiming it was the sole religious governance acceptable according to the Bible. From Matthew to 1 Corinthians and Acts, there are various words in favor of this style of governance. And in the end, the platform states that the church should operate under mixed guidance, coming from the monarchy and thereby divine right, democracy, and aristocracy, using all three to assist in each individual church running its own individual way. The key to this polity is that the churches must choose to engage with it. According to the Cambridge Platform, a Congregationalist church was defined as a company of saints by calling, united into one body by a holy covenant for the public worship of God and the mutual edification of one another in the fellowship of the Lord Jesus. So to reliably practice the faith as outlined in the original document, one had to choose to do so. There's no doctrinal or dogmatic tie requiring such a joining together, no threat of sin or eternity of hellfire demanding it of us. Simply saints joining together with other saints, congregations uniting publicly because they have made the sacred agreement together to do so. So not only does our penchant for covenanting start here, but we also see the roots of our esteemed congregational polity. These two things are intrinsically linked, and we really don't have one without the other. These choices are nearly as old as our heritage of being Unitarian and is deeply baked into our current UU processes. Without such polity, we would lose so much of how UUs identify. The Unitarian Universalist Association website states, that under congregational polity, each congregation is self-governing, choosing its own leadership, lay and professional, handling its own finances and choosing its own delegates to General Assembly. However, this independence does not imply that we must reinvent our governance process for each individual congregation. Our polity is very much responsible for our loose association, which prevents us from prescribing structures and practices for congregations. It enables organic practices and organizations to rise and survive. I remember asking my home minister, Reverend Jason, when I first started hearing the whispers of the call to ministry, if I had to go where the powers that be at the Unitarian Universalist Association told me I had to go. It was both exciting and a little bit harrowing to be told, no, you choose where you get to go. But you can only do that because a congregation chooses you. Didn't even know a church could do that. Churches choosing how they run and who runs them. Ministers deciding where in the country, in the world they want to go without being pigeonholed into one place because the diocese says so. We have the freedom to choose together. That was absolutely revolutionary for me. And we make lots of covenants together too, once we've chosen each other in this faith, whether we realize it or not. There's something known as the freedom of the pulpit, which is to say that the minister or speakers are not required to adhere to a liturgy or to the whims of another human or the government or anyone else besides us and our responsibilities to the folks in the seats. It's in my contract, but it's a sort of unspoken covenant that goes with it that I will protect the pulpit. I may make calls for social justice. I may challenge you to expand your thinking and hope it inspires you to action and growth. But I know that the pulpit is a sacred place and that my words carry deep weight. When I step into this space, I covenant with you to challenge and engage you, walk with you and hold you along your journey. I promise that I will work to not hurt you. And I vow to not knowingly engage in rhetoric that is harmful, which is why everything I do from this space comes from love and dignity, which is the heart of the principles that we choose to follow together. You all made a covenant with me when the board agreed to give me a contract. I promised to bring my enthusiasm, my desire to learn and grow, and my openness of heart, and to give myself to you and this work. In return, whether you knew it or not, you promised to help encourage and motivate our ministry together in a space of love and nurturing. And you agreed to go with me on the journey towards spiritual growth and community. Part of that covenant is the promise that even when we inevitably annoy, disappoint, sadden, or injure one another, that we agree to return to each other and work towards an honest reparation to the breach of relationship. We promise to do so because we chose to do this work together. In terms of our faith-wide covenant and our inner workings around congregational polity, with great power comes great responsibility. I often hear that the UUA doesn't do anything for us, and it's probably not a secret to some of you that are more connected on the national level that there are people who think the UUA's sole purpose in our lives is to dictate who we are, what we're about, and how we do things. From my perception, as someone still considered a young adult UU, which is wild because I'm 34, I'm a young adult for another year, 18 to 35. What? I've been in this faith for just over half a decade. And the people who think that the UUA doesn't do anything for us seem to shirk the change that so many UUs say that we seek. Change can be frightening and uncomfortable, I won't deny that, but letting our fears overtake us is seldom the answer. When we have people, for example, pushing back against congregations adopting the 8th principle, a principle that seeks to hold us accountable to the anti-racism and anti-oppression work we engage in, I have to wonder, what on earth are we holding on to? If we, the member congregations of the UUA, if we are choosing to covenant together under the banner of our principles, which proudly proclaim inherent worth and dignity of all, justice, equity, and compassion, acceptance of each other, peace, liberty, and interdependence, then we need to be willing to choose what is best for all people, not just the few. When I hear people keeping the overarching body at bay, I can hear whispers of the fears that we are losing that polity that we hold so dear, and those fears are understandable. And that is why we covenant. It is not just an idle, empty word, it is an action. In every way, every time we covenant together, it is our love for each other, our love for this faith, and our love for the work that we do in action. Being a member of this community is a covenant to love and support one another. Being a member congregation of the UUA is a covenant not only to other congregations, but a covenant to the liberative and justice-filled future we so long to help create. On the shoulders of those who came before and dared to dream bigger than the confines of the religions around them, may we too always seek to dream at least as big as they did. And let us make the sacred pact together today to always choose each other and to always choose love whenever possible. So may it be, and amen.
Got so wrapped up in her talk that I forgot what I was doing here. We are a fellowship supported entirely by the voluntary generosity of our members and friends, and we greatly appreciate our faithful pledgers who continue to keep up their monthly contributions. It is now easier than ever to contribute to our virtual plate today. The link can be found in the chat box and will take you directly to the donation location. And now we will gratefully accept your generous donations during the musical interlude.
This piece is by Viennese composer Mariana Martinez, and she was Mozart's favorite four-hand music partner. So the two of them would have been sitting together at an early piano. But this was solo.
Stand to sing our closing hymn, This Little Light of Mine, on page 118 of the dark blue hymnal.
It wasn't an accident that I said covenant like 30 times today, by the way. Gonna stick the point home. We know that it's not always easy to come back together in covenant. When we hurt each other, when we disappoint each other, it is hard to return to that place of trust. But I challenge you, knowing how loving and supportive and wonderful this community is, that our faith is and could be for the world, I challenge you, I ask you with all my heart to return to that place of love and caring. May we always find warmth in that space. May we always find support, and may we always find that loving place together again. So may it be, amen, shalom, ashe, namaste, and blessed be. Go now in peace. May the light within you be a blessing to the world.
Thank you all for being here today. After our closing circle song, we will have a 5-minute break. Then please be seated if you wish to stay for our community gathering. We encourage the people on Zoom to participate. Just raise your hand if you would like to speak. After our community gathering, you are all invited to go to the salon for refreshments and fellowship. Our closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Now join hands for our closing circle song.